Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to 007 Agent Under Fire on KwingsLetsPlays. It's time for us to continue more Bond goodness. If there's a certain Bond game you would like to see, let us know in the comment section below. Because, well, there's a new Bond movie coming out this year, and we have a few more Bond games, so it's time for Fire and Water.
007. Our analysis of the data chip reveals that the location of Poseidon is an oil drilling platform in the South China Sea. While this seems an unlikely location for a cloning lab, you must investigate the site immediately. Sources in Hong Kong inform us that Nigel Block has recently boarded a helicopter bound for the oil rig. If you find Block, chase him down. We must do whatever we can to hinder Malprave's actions.
Listen up, 007. I've equipped you with a special means of transport, the Q-Jet. This remarkable device provides a short burst of vertical thrust that propels you into the air. You can use it to leap up to platforms or overcome obstacles. Ingeniously, the Q-Jet can be fueled by any source of compressed gas you might find in the field. Keep an eye out for stations that might power the device.
Okay, so basically we're going to become the Rocketeer. Although, it doesn't work that well.
Oh, okay.
Don't get me wrong, the Q-Jet works great in multiplayer, but this one, not so much. You only get to use it once, and you have to find a refueling station.
007. The data chip indicates an oil drilling platform in the South China Sea. Investigate anything that might shed light on Poseidon, Malprave's cloning facility. If you discover the lab, you must destroy it completely.
Very well.
Well, speaking of the Rocketeer...
Yes, Timothy Dalton was the 80s Bond. Well, late 80s. He did 2 movies, and then he did The Rocketeer as a villain.
He was the real villain in that.
Although, I always felt like, I don't know, maybe that Dalton was kind of like a bad guy playing Bond.
Yeah, that's what, like, you were describing how he would, like, kill people in really disturbing ways, and he would, like, go on this huge killing spree. When I actually look at him and, like, the way his kind of this weird crooked smile that seems a little off, I feel like he looks like a villain. Like, he just seems like a villain, and I guess he played kind of a villain as Bond, to be honest.
I mean, his movies were really weird, you know?
I was looking through different Bonds to try to figure out who... Because I remember seeing a Bond that was, like, had red hair and seemed really angry.
Roger Moore.
And that's definitely not Timothy Dalton, because Timothy Dalton has dark hair. So yeah, I think it is Roger Moore, because I remember thinking, like, this guy was Bond? Like, he doesn't even look like Bond.
Roger Moore was like the Adam West of Bonds.
He doesn't look like... I mean, Timothy Dalton looks like Bond, but he looks like Psycho Bond.
Well, it was the 80s, and...
He looks like, what was I telling you?
You've come a very long way to die, Mr. Bond. But first, let me show you around.
Bond villains have a lot of fun in life.
Yeah, what is he? He looks like Timothy Dalton is like, to me, like Jean-Paul Valley Bond.
Kind of, yeah.
He's not normal.
He didn't get the type of reception as Bond that, you know, people were kind of... I mean, Roger Moore did it a long time.
Yeah, he's the one person that doesn't look anything like Bond or appear any... He doesn't even... I think I remember seeing a clip of him as Bond, and I thought, what is this? Like, what in the world? Like...
Uh-oh.
Like, this guy doesn't seem like Bond.
Oh, there was nobody there, but we still got the Bond point. Ow!
But yeah, I feel like Roger Moore didn't really, like you said, he did way too many puns, and he didn't really look like Bond.
Well, I mean, his, I don't remember what his... Live and Let Die, I think, was his first Bond movie. That was actually pretty good. And it had Jane Seymour in it, or whatever her name was, the lady from Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, like, later on.
Oh, I feel like...
Most Bond girls go on to do a lot of, like, really big things in Hollywood. Like, back in the day, if you were a Bond girl...
Why?
Then you would jumpstart your career. You just would.
That's weird.
I don't think that's the same anymore, but it used to be.
I don't remember there being a lot of Bond girls in the movie that I watched, actually. with the last the James Bond movie that I watched.
Daniel Craig?
Yeah, I don't remember there being really Bond girls.
I mean, they kind of did something similar to In His Majesty's Secret Service, like where I believe Bond got a girlfriend and she was kind of consistent throughout his movies and then she died.
Oh,
so he wasn't too much of the player, yeah. And Pierce Brosnan also had a girlfriend. Carrie Hatcher was in one of the movies who was supposed to be Bond's like longtime girl, but she ends up getting killed in one of the movies.
Yeah.
And he loses it.
So I have a question. The guy's face on this game during the cutscenes, is it supposed to be Pierce or it's supposed to be like a generic?
They couldn't get the license use of Pierce Brosnan's face for this game like they were able to for GoldenEye because this is a different company who did the Bond games. Like this is MGM. MGM was, I believe, the studio that made the Bond films back in the day. And they did used to have like a video game developer. They don't anymore. I'm not going to try to jump on those boxes because I'm really bad at the platforming, and I will fall and die.
Because actually looking at like different photos of different Bonds, it kind of maybe sort of looks like between Pierce and like Sean Connery, but it's like it doesn't look exactly like Pierce Brosnan, like the character in this.
Pierce Brosnan has the most Bond games though. Like I think. I mean, I always like to say that this one, because this is supposed to be during his tenure as Bond, so technically, you know, they got a guy who kind of sounded like Pierce a little bit. It's a combination between Pierce Brosnan and Sean Connery, you know?
Yeah.
So, because he has like a darker voice. Pierce's voice was a little lighter.
Yes, like they're trying to make him sound a little darker. Exactly.
It's like it's like a Bond sandwich for Agent Under Fire.
They're trying to make him like generic Bond.
But for the sequel of this game that's called James Bond Nightfire, which picks up with most of the characters you meet in this game, some of them survive and they are in the sequel Nightfire. They got the likeness for Pierce Brosnan, but they brought back the same guy who did the voice. So this guy from Agent Under Fire is back. And then for the next Bond game that had Pierce's, visualness, they actually brought in Pierce Brosnan himself to do the role, and he did pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a very long Bond game though. It's like 4 hours long, and it stars William Dafoe as the villain.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. I mean, we may look at it. I don't know. It's a very, very long Bond game. So this game, which I'm trying to explain to people, is, it's going to be really short. Like, 2.5 hours only comes out to, if we're lucky, 5 or 6 episodes. Like, for you guys.
Well, I mean, it's only going to be 5 or 6 episodes.
That means we'll be able to get to Nightfire before Dragon Ball Z Kakarot comes out.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Nightfire is 3 hours long.
I mean, Luke and I were talking about a lot of interesting things, so I was able to learn a lot more about different things about how, like I guess Sean Connery, wanted to come back after they kind of changed.
Well, he left the role originally. He left it and didn't want to do it in His Majesty's Secret Service. And then I think they changed the story a little bit, because, I mean, in the book, he does get married, and then his wife dies, but they told him when he was getting ready to do the next movie that they were going to kind of follow the books, but they weren't. And Sean Connery, he wanted some differences to his character because he's been playing the same role since Dr. No.
Yeah.
And Connery isn't the first guy to really play Bond, though. He's the second. There was a guy before him that starred in a movie in the 60s called Casino Royale.
Oh, interesting.
Which Daniel Craig remade, and, you know, it became more of like a licensed Bond film, but the James Bond character appeared in cinema before Sean Connery.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just kind of feel bad that Roger Moore did so many movies because he's the one that I didn't really like as Bond. I mean, actually, now that I realize that I didn't know Timothy Dalton played Bond also because he doesn't sound like the kind of Bond I would want to watch personally.
So, essentially, you know,
So
Sean was the 60s Bond.
Yeah.
And then he came back and he did Diamonds Are Forever. And then he came back and he did a bootleg Bond in the 80s, which was actually better received than Roger Moore's, like, one or two last Bond films in the 80s. But he couldn't call himself... No, he did call himself Bond. I don't remember some of the other things they changed, but it's actually a pretty decent movie. As far as I know, they've never been able to release it on DVD.
Oh.
But it starred an older version of Sean Connery.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it's basically a remake of Thunderball, though. Like an 80s remake of Thunderball, which Thunderball is probably my favorite Bond film, like, of the original Bonds, and then GoldenEye is my favorite of the modern Bonds.
Yeah.
Now we got some fuel, so in this level we need to use a rocket pack, and it only works once!
Well, now, because I know that Bond is a book series first, it makes sense to me why Bond is older now, like in the movies, because his book character would be older also. Right,
but they tried to, for certain fans, like, there's some references to Roger Moore's Bond with Pierce Brosnan, like things that he did to try to, you know, be like, oh, this is the same Bond, but at the same time, they would probably just change the dates of things. Like, it didn't happen in the 60s or the 70s, it was the 80s or something like that, because, you know.
Well, like, I was telling Luke because I didn't want to make him mad in the last video, but I okayed it with him. Like, I feel like the Pierce was he's the one who looked most like Bond. He's, like, the best looking
That's
Bond.
what everybody says.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Although, I think Ian Fleming was still alive for, Sean Connery.
I'm gonna say Sean Connery could have been the best looking Bond if not for his eyebrows.
Don't like the eyebrows.
His eyebrows are really cute, and I eat them. But I have to say, oh wait, now I'm getting really weird. They're cute, but I'm sorry, he doesn't. Yeah, now I'm getting. I wish I could redo everything I'm saying.
Most women swoon for Bond.
Yeah.
He's like the...
I'm sorry. It's hard to talk about Bond without saying...
Women...
Putting my foot in my mouth around Luke here.
Women want to be with him. Men want to be him.
Yeah.
He's like the perfect alpha.
Yeah. He is like the alpha puppy.
But I still... Yeah, I still like Pierce a lot. Like, playing this game makes me want to watch GoldenEye again.
And that's one thing that, like, you were telling me was Pierce's, like, his thing where he probably would have done... He could have done
that
maybe...
was dynamite.
Maybe he would have even done more movies than Roger Moore if he had actually not gotten out of his contract.
Yeah, Remington Steele kind of really affected that.
But he didn't really...
Wasn't his choice, though.
He wasn't really a Roger Moore fan. He was more of a Sean Connery fan.
The only way out is through that gap.
Yeah, alright, so this is kind of a hard part. There's a wrong and a right, correct way of doing this coming up.
That looks like a huge
see that,
hammer.
Yeah, see that pit that's under there, though? That's death. So if you fall in there, you'll have to restart the entire level.
Yeah.
So we need to be very careful that we don't fall in there.
Well, I mean, seeing Bond as a book character really helps me understand that he's gonna look different in each role, but that's because he's a book character. Like...
I mean, they also basically use the whole Bond movies for Warner Brothers to explain why Batman can be different actors. And, like, to have, like, a type of consistency, because there's been, like, 5 or 6 Bond actors, I think.
Yeah, but, like... Yeah, I guess.
But it's always Bond. It's just...
But Batman is, like, a comic book character, but I guess it's the same.
Yeah.
It's not really the same, but it's okay. So they're saying, like, Batman is, like comic book Bond?
Yep.
Kind of. I mean, he looks similar.
And there's only 3 actors for Batman that are tied for the most movie appearances, and that's Christian Bale and Ben Affleck.
I just have to say, I'm not trying to be mean against Christian Bale or anything, but I mean, I heard sometime that he was thinking about, or someone said somebody talked to him about doing Bond or something.
He almost did Bond.
I'm so glad he didn't, because he kind of doesn't look like
He did
James.
Batman instead.
He doesn't really look like Bond. Also, who was the other guy that almost did Bond? The guy, well, I don't know if he really did it, but somebody said the guy who was going to play Loki almost did Bond.
The guy who played Loki almost did Bond, and back in the 80s, there was also an American that
Whoa.
was considered for Bond.
Oh,
and
that's weird.
No, it didn't happen because they want to keep the actor who plays Bond, they want him to be either Scottish or British or something like that. They want that to remain the same.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as people are able to do the American accent for, you know, Batman,
Yeah, that's
people don't mind that the British guys come in and do it, and
that's
they
what
do
I
a
don't
great job.
understand. Like, why is it like British actors keep playing like iconic American roles? Like, I guess they're just better at doing the accent than us. Maybe it's just really hard to do a British accent correctly.
Oh, I don't know about that. It's not too difficult. Alright, so we need to ride this. This is actually a bit more Scottish and...
No, I think Sean Connery did it perfect. He was... I mean, the UK is all Scotland, Wales, England, all those countries combined, so...
Alright, so there's some Bond moves coming up here that you could do, but, I mean, it all depends on where the enemies are going to hang out. See those barrels that are up there on that little platform? You can blow up those barrels, and then that platform will smash people.
Yeah.
And then Bond will do a pun.
No, I love the fact that Sean Connery's accent is Scottish. It completely works for... It's completely UK.
This will be a barrel of laughs.
Yeah, see? So, I mean, if I could have gotten some guys underneath that, then that would have squashed them, but...
I wouldn't change Sean Connery's Scottish accent for the world. That's one of the best things about him.
It is pretty amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
And also, guys, I'm not the fastest, like, speedrunner when it comes to these Bond games. I'm not trying to milk them, I'm just doing the best I can. I'm not really amazing at FPS games, and that's what a lot of the Bond games are, with exception to Everything or Nothing, which, I'm not really good at Metal Gear Solid games, and that is a, MGS game, basically. Because they were trying to do... The same developer who made Agent Under Fire and Nightfire made, I believe, Everything or Nothing.
This is a very cool game.
They also made the Sean Connery Bond game, From Russia with Love, which is a very good game too. But I'm not a fan of like the third-person like shooter games because it feels like it's harder for me to control.
I mean, I'm sure Roger Moore may have been good in some Bond movie.
He had some good movies.
I just feel like you said, like when
he did the role so long that he became Adam West.
Yeah,
That
when
was the
Adam
problem.
West did the first episode of the Batman show, like it was somewhat serious, and the longer they did it, the more crazy it became.
Yep.
So like I feel like that probably happened to Roger Moore.
Well, I mean, Roger Moore also, besides the Bond films, he appeared in some comedies, I think.
Oh.
So, I mean, he was kind of like a versatile actor that, like... I mean, all he did was mostly Bond, but he also appeared in some other films.
I feel like it's okay to make a pun as Bond, but I feel like saying it more like with a straight face, like, is more of an impact as Bond, because Bond wouldn't really be all goofy, like... Oh, that one flew over the handle.
It's supposed to be like a, dark humor, but...
Yeah,
not,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like humor between him and M, like, or whoever's listening on the line.
Oh,
just says it.
right!
Like, really subtly.
The rocket launcher. Oh no! Ooh.
Red barrels.
Well, at least we made it to the checkpoint.
Why is it in every game if you see a red barrel, they always explode?
I mean, you have to have explosive barrels. That goes all the way back to GoldenEye.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is basically like a spiritual successor to the GoldenEye.
Well, I noticed, like, playing, Oh, what was that thing with Nathan Drake that Uncharted?
Uncharted
They
games?
have red barrels and they always explode. It's
Of
almost
course.
like in every game, if the barrels are red, they explode.
Well, they mark them so that people know that they're explosive.
Oh, so you're saying
They're not doing it so somebody could just randomly, you know, blow them up. It's a warning in real life that, hey, this is flammable.
It's not supposed to be like a target. It's supposed to be a warning not to do it.
Oh, I missed a Bond move. There was a steam vent there. Oh well.
Oh, that's...
I'm not gonna get all the Bond moves in this. There's a lot of creative things that you can do. But yeah.
Actually, you have pretty dark hair. You could totally be a Bond guy.
I'm American though, so American with Portuguese heritage and Irish.
Yeah, but that's what is cool. See, you're Irish and Portuguese. That's where you get the dark hair. Irish is part of the UK. Oh wait. Wait, no, it's not. Wait, I keep forgetting. Actually.
It's not part of it. What?
No, Ireland is separate, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to offend you, Luke.
Whoa.
Oh, I did not mean to be offensive.
Now that was dynamite. Uh-oh. Missed one. Also, I'm not really going for accuracy anymore, so one trick that I used to do back when playing certain Bond games, if you have the ability to duck, I will duck and I will fire and I'll kind of like bounce up and down so that I can put as many bullets into an enemy body as possible so I can kill them quicker. The only problem is it kills your accuracy and you need a higher accuracy to get, like you saw, some of the golden weapons we have.
Yeah.
And the only reason you wanted to get like a perfect score is because it would really help you in the multiplayer. The multiplayer is really fun.
I really thought there were more people that played Bond, though.
No.
Like, there's only been like 5. I thought there was like 16 different Bond people.
No. Nope. You can go online and look at all the different, like, Bond movies. Sadly, Pierce Brosnan only did 4, and he did 1 video game, and people count... Most Bond fans do count Everything or Nothing as his 5th movie, because it's pretty good. Like, he did a great job coming in to act it. He was very, like, kind and gracious, and based on what Pierce Brosnan did, Sean Connery actually came out of retirement for the 50th anniversary of Bond and reprised one of his favorite Bond movies in video game form from, you know,
because of
From
Pierce?
Russia with Love. Yeah. If
Yeah.
Pierce and Judi Dench and John Cleese didn't reprise their roles for that big video game, I don't think Sean Connery would have come out of retirement to voice his character again.
Pierce Brosnan brought Bond back to life the way that David Tennant brought Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would say, because the Bond movies got kind of stale with Roger Moore, because, like, he did it so long, and eventually he did. I don't know if he stepped down from the role, or if the films just didn't do well anymore, and they were just kind of like, we're not going to make Bond anymore. And then when they brought in Timothy Dalton, who was an upcoming, you know, I wouldn't say big star, but he had a lot of things that people knew, especially in England. So he worked out well to, you know, just like Keaton took the Adam West Bond and, you know, tweaked it. or, you know, like the Batman. And he changed people's perception of what Batman was.
Yeah.
I would say Dalton was a fan of Sean Connery, and he kind of brought some of that to the role, but he also did his devilish stuff. So, I mean, you could tell a clear difference when you watch a Timothy Dalton Bond movie compared to Roger Moore. I mean, it's like night and day.
Oh yeah.
It's like going from Adam West to Michael Keaton, or maybe even he's the Ben Affleck of Bond films, because he's pretty brutal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even Ben Affleck probably wouldn't do some of the stuff that he did in a movie. I mean, Batman doesn't do that kind of stuff to people.
No, he doesn't do the Dalton stuff. I was just saying the brutality of
I know what
his fighting and things like that.
I understand what you're saying. Sorry.
Like, Dalton did a lot of his own stunts.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
but not as much as Pierce Brosnan did. Pierce Brosnan also became kind of like an executive producer on the Bond films.
I mean, he's a fantastic actor. I mean, I know he played the part of the guy who was the movie star, and then he was actually secretly working with the NAZIs.
Well, he did that as an homage to his Bond character a little bit, because he was this really charming guy, and nobody thought that he was the bad guy. You know,
because he had all this entourage and everything, he could hide behind all that.
Right.
It was the perfect way to hide, was to be in plain sight, basically.
Exactly. Yep. You got it.
And then, of course, when the guy dating the main, or the Rocketeer, who his girlfriend was, like, you know, hanging out with that movie star, he was trying to tell her, like, this guy's really bad.
Oh, no!
Like, well, of course you'd say he's bad because, you know, he's competition for you. Like, she would just get mad at him. But, like, who would have thought he really was bad?
Yep, I mean, that was a pretty good red herring, but after that, I mean, there seemed to be a lot of those twists in 90s movies, because Dick Tracy did the same thing.
Oh, okay.
With, you know, Blank being the singer girl.
Being the Breathless Mahoney.
Yeah.
I love Dick Tracy. I love that movie.
I'm really surprised that The Rocketeer never got a sequel, though, because the movie was actually fantastic.
I've watched that movie so many times. I really love that movie.
The video games were terrible.
See, there's some movies we could actually do, like, commentary to. Some great movies.
Yeah, but not the Bond films, though. Well, no. Not even GoldenEye, I don't think. It's pretty intense.
I mean, it's not like we're showing the intense movie. We're just doing commentary.
Yeah, I know.
If people buy the movie and watch it at home, it's kind of like they're...
Alright, we need to be really careful here.
I mean, I don't see... It's not like we're putting the violence on our commentary.
Uh-oh. Alright, careful this time, Bond. Don't die. Alright, with that out of the way, time to grab our rocket launcher.
Now, from what I remember, you never saw the first... one with the modern Bond guy on it?
I haven't seen that one. No, I haven't seen the Daniel Craig movies. You've seen one.
Can I just say spoiler real quick for it if anyone hasn't seen it?
Sure.
I saw the first one. So spoiler alert, like you guys can skip 4 seconds ahead. Alright, spoiler alert.
Got the drop on him.
Got the drop on him. Nice.
One thing I thought was really awesome in that movie that made it really over the top and definitely made it a Bond movie for me was one of the ways a guy died, which was, spoilers, got eaten by a Komodo dragon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when I saw that part, I was like, yes, this is a Bond movie now.
Yeah, animals and sharks and all kinds of things can end up there. I remember there was a Bond movie where a dude got eaten by piranhas.
No, but they didn't actually show the person get eaten. It was just implied they did. It was like threw him over into the pit of Komodo dragons, and then he's like, ah. I mean, that would have been horrible if they actually showed that. I mean, it was just implied.
See, I don't like that the Q-Claw can only attach to those small little grates. Because in multiplayer, you can attach to anything.
Well, I think that's one reason I really... Well, okay, so done with... I'm not going to talk about it anymore, so...
Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay, fine. I really like Komodo dragons, so that was cool for me. I don't know.
So, you see how with the jetpack, you can only use it, like, once, really? Mm-hmm. And it just... Ah! That hurt. Oh, no!
Yeah.
Oh. Well, thankfully there's a vest there. So we have to climb on top of these boxes while this dude is lobbing grenades at us.
I feel like Luke and I don't really see a lot of movies together anymore, because Luke usually watches anime.
I like anime. I mean, I kind of grew out of a lot of live-action stuff, except for some Korean stuff, and I watch some Korean movies every once in a while, but...
Like, if I want to watch a movie or check out a new movie, Luke's like, maybe later. I'm watching my anime right now, so... Lucas, like, he really likes anime.
I mean, I still love the classic Bond movies and a lot of, like, movies from the 80s and 90s, but...
You don't like to try new things, though.
No, I don't really watch a lot of, like, new things unless it's anime. Yeah. Or Batman shows I have to watch. But... I
think that's why I really like going to the movies with you, because you finally have to see a new movie with me.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really enjoy watching new movies.
There we go.
But it depends. If it...
Hello there. It's a bit late for scuba diving.
Nice voice.
Is he talking about her diving posture?
Yes. Watch out, James!
Whoa! You guys don't have the correct diving posture at all.
Ooh, that's gonna leave a mark. And that's it. So, yeah, that level took a little bit longer because we failed, but...
Well, I don't know. I guess at least Bond is appreciative of women. That's nice.
He does love the ladies. Yes. I don't know who... Honestly, I would love Loki to be the next Bond.
Oh my god.
That would be fantastic.
It's so weird.
Or I would like Chris Hemsworth. I think that would be kind of interesting.
Every time there's a guy that's blonde that plays Bond, it's weird to me, but why do I keep forgetting the guy's name? Roger Craig's... Wait, no. Who's the guy who's playing him now?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. Sorry, it's a Craig.
It's okay. But anyway, guys and gals, that's going to do it for today's episode of Bond. Join us next time for the Forbidden Depths as we go to an underwater base, which is still Bond. And be on the lookout for probably Nightfire starting right after this series wraps, which I don't think it's going to be very long, so... But we hope you guys will look forward to that. Stay tuned later today for more Star Wars Bounty Hunter. God bless and happy gaming.
See ya!